All right. Welcome, everybody, to the second episode of What Were We Just Talking About? Apparently, the pause isn't working on the music. That was Hakate's Riddle with the opening music there. This is Rev Ron. I just recently started writing for Dope Magazine, which will be out on stands in the greater Northern California area this June. Coming up, I used to write for Sac Alt Magazine. I work with several pot-related, cannabis and medical marijuana-related organizations in various stages. So, sorry, he just started playing myself in my ear, so I had to figure out and get reoriented here. Anyways, I work with Sac Normal, Brownie Mary Democrats, you name it. I'm trying to do what we can. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening this year and into 2016 that's gonna try to legalize marijuana for adult recreational use, and so we're real excited about that. Before I bust right into the stoner news, I will also remind people that this is a private program, so it's not affiliated with any of the groups, so I'm able to say words like stoner, and as long as my intent isn't negative, I hope people don't consider that hate speech. We're all just trying to have fun. Weed, pot, whatever, dope. Actually, Dope Magazine stands for Defending Our Patients Everywhere, in case you didn't know. But we have Stoney, the Tokin Mellinial, here today, because we're going to talk a little bit about media, and he knows some stuff about that. Say hi, Tony.
Hi.
You got to say a little louder.
Hi.
And that reminds me, I want to apologize for last episode where I was like right next to the mic and everybody was far away. So, Stoney, come a little closer to the mic. He's a shy guy. And then we also have here in the chess lounge, we have WiseKraft. Say hello, WiseKraft.
Hello.
The show. And so bring up the don't show that picture of me. Bring up the logo thing I made. Okay. So all right, so now hand me my computer. I want to get into the stoner news, and that's just me telling the news in a non-technical way. We're going to start off with national news. There was a huge vote in the excuse me. There was a huge vote, in the White House, not the White House, but in the God, I can't remember what it's called now. Oh my God, I got stage fright. I never get that. What? There's just too many things going on. No, I'm not. I'm fine. It sounds fine. I have the headset on.
Yeah, but I don't think it doesn't.
It's
sound
picking
the same.
me up.
It doesn't sound the same in the headphones that it does.
Okay.
Make sure you're close.
I can hear myself just fine.
That's not the same sound.
Please
go ahead.
Sorry about that. Apparently, we're going to produce the show as it's going. Anyway, in the Senate House, Senator Dianne Feinstein was known, who has been known to be pretty canophobic, has kind of changed her tune. Basically, there was an amendment of the inclusion of Military Construction, Veteran Affairs, and Related Agencies Appropriation Act. Specifically, if passed by Congress, the bipartisan amendment would disallow the VA from spending funds to enforce a prohibition against physicians filing medical marijuana recommendation forms. Now, that's pretty big. I know a lot of vets who have been harassed by the VA and told that they were going to have their their other medicines taken away from them if they don't stop using cannabis, and if they get this threat. They get treated as though they are addicts, and they get regularly drug tested. And if they test positive for marijuana, they get other medicine they very well may need that has no interaction with cannabis whatsoever taken away, just based on the canophobic policy. So we're hoping we'll see some shift in that. Also, there's the CARES Act that does specifically work for veterans. Also, so I know that Cal Normal's Ellen Comp and Dale Geringer were in DC, and I look forward to talking to them and seeing what all they saw go down during the vote. So,
if you want me to put any of these on, you just give me the links.
Okay, yeah, and there's several stories about that. I was reading one off of SF Gate blog. You could just Google Dianne Feinstein marijuana actually to find that. And then I'm waiting. We did talk about having Mollie Fry on. She has made her first public appearance at the AAMC meeting. Shout out to AAMC. And is en route back. And I was told by my good friend Sue that I would be able to call them and possibly get them on. So hopefully we'll be talking to them later. I haven't got the text yet. So what else is happening? I had a few, let's see. It's been kind of a quiet week cannabis wise. Locally, I think we had another hearing regarding the AB bills, SB. Shouldn't even try to talk about this, but they were all put in suspense. There were 4 of them, and they were put in suspense for the budget. So we'll see those coming back. That includes SB 266 and the others. And in the Legalize It news, we still have some initiatives coming through. There's a new one. This one's it's billed as a Compassionate and Sensible Access Act. A good friend of mine, Eric Salerno, got me involved with that. I'm actually a signer on that. They have a website up now. It's called www.sensibleaccess.org. And this is a patient's Bill of Rights. It's a pretty simple document, and I was pretty happy with the language. If we can get it on the ballot, go down and the website and check that out. MCLR is back, and they were at the last normal meeting, and we have a graphic for that, which has some information. But MCLR is was one of the acts that was attempting to legalize cannabis in 2014, the Marijuana Control, Legalization, and Revenue Act. And that's at MCLR, that's Marijuana Control, Legalization, Revenue .us. Okay, check that out. That was a living document for over 2 years, and in Google Docs, and everybody was giving input, and now they filed, and there's all the latest information there. So I just want to direct you to that. So that's kind of what's happening statewide. Now, before we get on to our topic of the day, which is going to be media, I want to talk about everything, just kind of a brief history of media and marijuana, basically censorship, and how, good old wholesome television protected us from Reefer Madness for so many years, and what's going on in the media now with that. They're looking for the pipe. We are actually smoking some blue cookies I got from my buddies over at clevertreedeliveries.com. I don't plug these because they give me anything. My voice stopped going in my ear. Okay. Did we lose?
No,
am I still broadcasting?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just your ear.
Fix it, please. We got that from clevertreedeliveries.com. They have a cool app. If you go to Clevertree I gotta check that if it's actually .com, because I actually have smoked a little bit since they came, but I go to my little phone in my Google app, type in the browser CL, and it already knows exactly where I'm going. Clever Tree Delivery, and it's generally takes them about 15 minutes. And I also want to let people know I only plug businesses because I like them. Yeah, clevertreedelivery.com. I don't receive any kind of kickbacks yet. I'm open to that, but I will actually only brag about your product if I like it, though. I will not take a bunch of money and say something's good that's not. And I also, for the same for the Lefumo pipe, I really love this pipe. I don't even know the website. Maybe we'll find it, put it up later. But Lefumo pipes, cool dude. I've met him at the hemp cons. It's a modular pipe with a metal bowl and unit with a plastic tube. So you're putting plastic to your mouth, but you're not putting metal to your mouth. It's a great product. So, anyways, we like that. So that's what we'll be doing today while we're trying to do our reporting also. So I'm going to give a quick call to my friend. And this is our first time utilizing phones. We're going to just use good old-fashioned speakerphone and hope for the best in this scenario, because now the show, they could have gone way over. I know Doc Fry is very popular in Auburn area, where she formed her collective back way before it was cool and before everybody was doing it. Hold on a second here. Giving it a ring. See how that sounds. Can you hear that?
Can you hear it?
I can't tell what I'm hearing over the headphones. So we're calling up Sue Colomb.
Please leave your message for
and she's not there. They're probably still in the meeting. Okay. Well, we're going to give it a try. But first, we're going to move on. So I have some notes here. One of the things, I have written about in the past for Sac Alt Magazine, and I think is real important, is representation in the media of cannabis, of anything, really. It basically molds our thoughts. So, years ago, it was illegal to show two men kissing, and it really and now they've changed policies so much that you have recurring gay characters. You can't have an ensemble cast without someone from the LGBT rainbow in that cast. And I think we're seeing the insurgence of not just the stupid stoner, but the medical patient, the funny, functional pot user, the pot granny we've been seeing crop up here and there. And then there's the cautionary tales, the gangbangers, the millennial little punks selling the weed, and then they're getting in trouble. And I think those are generally trying to scare children away from weed. But what we're going to talk about is we're going to try to focus on the ones where we think there was really some sort of positive message, which is rare, okay, particularly in movies, okay? When you think about movies, even the movies we like, name a movie you like that's got weed in it.
Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
He's
Stoney.
a lazy stoner dude.
Does that depict stoners as heroes?
No,
Are they kind of stupid?
He's just kind of cool. He's just chill. He's not really like intelligent. He's just an everyman.
But what do we think of people when let's say I don't smoke weed and I watch Big Lebowski? I'm not going to really think very highly of cannabis users, am I?
No, not at all.
And that's the beauty of us stoners, is we have wonderful senses of humor and we're able to laugh at ourselves. So when they market this stuff, we are the biggest consumers of it. Jade, Silent Bob, Cheech and Chong, my personal favorite, Half Baked. Now I could argue, though, the ending of Half Baked wasn't what we would all want. You know, he stopped weed for the girl. But I think now that we have medical, it's a new context. Maybe the girl wouldn't ask him to quit. It would be a different ending. But I do think there are some positive portrayals in there. They all smoke weed, but they have jobs. Okay. One of them's a teacher.
Except the guy on the couch.
The guy on the couch. Right.
Yeah.
And then one guy ends up without a job. Remember that? F you. You're cool.
No,
but
two people do. That's how they end up selling weed.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Now you're not coming through real clear tone. So
I told you,
Stone.
you need to get about this radio.
Okay. So, and the other thing is, you know, Samson Simpson is using marijuana medicinally. Remember, he talks about his bacchiotomy. He had a bacchiotomy, and he also has, I would think, PTSD. Something about he slept with my mama. Remember that?
I don't.
He slept. Yeah, he's telling some story. I forget, but somebody said he slept with my mama, and he was crying.
Oh,
so
Lord.
there's that. Okay. So who do you think is the positive marijuana role model in our media right now? Seth Rogen, James Franco?
Not at all.
Not at
Well,
all.
have you? Their movies are hilarious, and they're making fun of themselves, kind of. But
Well,
no,
have you seen 50-50?
I have not.
That's one that didn't get as much play as their other movies, but it
wasn't pot related. Like
no, the guy smokes weed. And
Oh,
he
he does?
has cancer.
Oh shit!
And spoiler alert, he survives. It was awesome.
He cuts off his.
But you know what?
arm.
The pot use was really downplayed, and it wasn't a huge advocate for that. Perfect. So then you know who you guys want to know my number one vote for positive cannabis user on the movies would be?
Who?
Freaking Gandalf. Right? He's toking it up every movie. Even Gandalf the White likes it. And then in The Hobbit, even the last movie, what does he do after the biggest war ever?
I haven't seen the new.
And he's blowing cool shit things, and he's battling, and he's winning. And I as a person who likes wizards and that kind of stuff, I think Gandalf. What do you think?
Oh hell yeah!
There's no
and
cautionary
the
tale in there.
And the Hobbits. The Hobbits. They like if you remember Merry and Pippin, they find that they say pipe weed.
Right.
And they
so
find barrels of it, and they're like, hell yeah! They're grabbing on it. They're crazy about it.
Now they don't say in the movies or in the book whether it's really cannabis.
Okay. I feel like if it's a fantasy realm, tobacco would not be as interesting to them.
No,
because they have all this crazy shit going on, anyways. That like.
Well, you know what the key is, though, in the second Hobbit movie, when Radagast comes zooming up all like some tweaker, and he shoves a pipe in his mouth and he lights it. That's when we know it's more than tobacco. Okay, because tobacco you take and most pot users you take a hit and it's not a big deal. But if you're sick and wacky and you take a hit, you cool down just like. Oh, and then the villain, Saruman makes a comment about how it dulls his brain. So that's another indicator that it's weed.
True, okay. Yeah.
All right. So what about in TV? Okay. We've got shows where they're all over the map. Like Sons of Anarchy, for example. Sons of Anarchy has several. Have you watched it?
I've watched a lot of it.
Okay.
I had to stop because it got too screwed up. But
yeah, you're a sensitive stoner. I know that, Stoney. But
no, it's just like one episode that they light the dude's daughter on fire.
Dude, that was hard for me too.
Like, I was like, I needed to take a break. I haven't picked it up since. And they smoke weed and drink, and it's not like a good thing. They're doing it to get fucked up, and it's not really
right. Well, but I agreed. The biker club's use of the cannabis could be argued. One of the things I didn't like was how they could smoke it and then go do these horribly psychopathic things.
Well, it dulls down your brain.
But then look at Unser, former cop, cancer, grows weed in his little trailer. He's out getting shot at. He lights a joint, and the federal agent's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "It's medicinal." And that guy survived all the way to the end. So that's a good.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, you remember Unser, the old dude?
Yeah.
Okay. He survives all the way through, and he's smoking pot. He never has his aha moment where he has to quit, like you see. Because a lot of times we see cannabis users, and then later it's like the whole story arc is they quit, and now their life is good. And then there was the wife.
Oh yeah.
She smoked weed after she broke her arm. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then there was the horrible cautionary tale. Gemma Teller smokes a joint and drives a car and wrecks it and hurts her grandchild. That was redonkulous. It should have been alcohol. Did you see that one? Did you get that part?
I did. And I've seen some dumbass people smoke weed and try to drive. So I just think any substance, don't drive.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But the amount of weed they show her smoking.
Oh, of course not.
It wouldn't, yeah.
Well, she is an older woman who doesn't seem to smoke weed.
No, she's pretty regular. Her and Unser be passing it back and forth. It's kind of subtle. But
I don't remember. Actually, I do. Okay. It's just been a while.
Now, moving along, we have one you've watched, so maybe you could join in the conversation over here, WiseKraft. Sons of Anarchy. What were we just talking about? Sons of Anarchy. What are we gonna talk about? Trailer Park Boys. They have a legacy and they have a following, particularly in Canada.
I've been watching them since I was a little kid, even here.
Yes. Okay. So, Trailer Park Boys. Good marijuana image, bad marijuana image, both.
It's a realistic marijuana image because people can be more intelligent or they can be straight up like you need the short bus.
Well, I'll tell you, when I first saw it, I was working at a dispensary. I was running it, and I was looking for something to put on. I asked a patient, "What should I put on, for the patients?" "Oh, Trailer Park Boys got weed in it." I watched the first episode. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't." I saw it at a medical dispensary, and then it was years later that I actually revisited. And why I revisited it. Oh, here, take this. Was because I was in Vancouver visiting the fabulous urban grower and going to KushCon and all that. KushCon, I don't remember. But I was there, and I remember Trailer Park Boys were the headliners, but I never really paid no attention to them. And they have this really cool dab tent there just outside this fairgrounds. And I was standing there, I just dabbed, and freaking
Randy,
the fat guy, was standing there. He wasn't shirtless. He just looked like a regular dude, and people were staring at him, and they're staring at me standing right next to him. And then this limo pulls up, and Mr. Leahy gets out, and Randy gets in with them. And then the stoner comes over and goes, "Dude, what did he say to you?" And I go, "Nothing." "Do you know who that was?" And I'm like, "Who?" They're like, "That's Randy." And I was just like, whatever, who cares? And then we watched the show that night, and we thought, oh, that's pretty funny. But it wasn't until I binge watched Netflix Trailer Park Boys from beginning to end that I really appreciated the full.
Then you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's all about Bubbles.
Didn't get it until
it's all about that Bubbles.
Seeing a lot of the episodes play out after each other.
I feel like Bubbles is kind of special, and then the weed helps him.
Yeah,
he's slightly autistic.
Yeah, he's on the spectrum, but he's definitely not unintelligent. He's the smartest.
Well, no, you could be a savant.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys remember? You've watched them all, right?
I've watched the majority of them. Yeah.
Well, I watched them on Netflix, and it was weird because there's all these movies and live things.
Well, it's in between them going to jail usually.
Right, but this weird thing in Legalize, and this is on Netflix, folks, and I highly recommend it. You just got to get over your politics and just be able to have a little fun. But literally, I forgot what I was just talking about before I interrupted myself. So, the movie. So the movie Don't Legalize It, right? Is that what it's called? The Trailer Park Boys movie.
I think it's
in the end, he meets all the big wigs in Canada, and he gets Ricky, being he, gets excited about medical and goes home and says, I have a license to grow medical weed. And then when the new season picks up on Netflix, nothing mentioned about medical weed. It's like this whole other bunch of stuff happened. I don't know. So if anybody knows how, is anybody even watching? Oh, we have 2 viewers. Welcome to our viewers. What we're really just talking about is marijuana in the media. If you have any comments about shows you like, we're going to continue to rabble on. We may have a guest on here before the show ends. Mollie Fry said she would call in. So
let me say something. I just want to let you know there is a chat section. It's on the actual YouTube area underneath. So if you want to chat, you can chat there. And
okay.
We'll chat back with you.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, WiseKraft. You turned me on to a little show that I notice has pot smoking in it. But I wouldn't call this a positive portrayal either. This is all building up to who we think is our ultimate hero on TV, like Gandalf is in the movies, right, guys? The League.
Oh yeah, I love The League. But when I first started watching it, it was like I didn't understand the sports references and stuff. So because I don't really care about that. So I just like watched it for the comedy aspect and watching the characters interact with each other. And then you kind of get who the characters are over time and how they interact with each other is kind of almost like inside jokes. So then it becomes its own thing over time and you enjoy the process. But you realize some of the characters are definite stoners because of the way that they talk, what they talk about, where they come from. Yeah, Nacho for sure. And he actually, I think, talks about it every once in a while. Like,
right.
Yeah, because he's like the kind of side character that's always trying to figure out what the next get rich quick scheme is.
And we know all the actors probably are big stoners on that show.
Right.
Oh hell yeah! John Kroll, is that his name?
Yeah,
Kroll.
He's a stoner.
Kroll. If Kroll ain't blazing, I'll eat my hat.
He's just like he just has the red eyes and the smile all the time.
So now, The League, Sons of Anarchy, Trailer Park Boys, the queen of all cable marijuana-related shows, Weeds. These all enjoy a less censored environment than we see on network TV. So, like network TV is still struggling with it. We came out of Just Say No with all the NBC programs back in the day, Different Strokes, Mrs. Garrett, what's it called? Facts of Life, Tootie's Bong. Any of you older viewers will remember these episodes where they basically just preach and preach at you. And marijuana is lumped in with this generic term, drugs. It kind of worked on me. I didn't smoke weed until I was 26. Mrs. Garrett gave her speech to Tootie, and you don't produce, you're not productive, you're lazy, all that crap. Now I think if Mrs. Garrett were a character in a modern version, she might be a pot granny. I can see her.
Yeah, probably like a like would
Lily Tomlin.
She might actually like produce stuff. Like, because she had a bakery or something.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Edna's Edibles. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
she would have Edna's Edibles, but it would be.
So it would have been actual
Edna's Edibles.
Actual edibles, because that's what we call them in dispensaries.
So, you're not going to find any pot heroes in network television. I think there's a couple fun moments in some network shows, like Desperate Housewives had one of the dads try weed and his wife switched it with oregano. It was silly.
A good movie is that that's a pot hero type of thing, or a cannabis hero, is the Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh,
yes.
You know what? Let's talk about that for a second. We're going to put back.
Let me bring that up
to movies. I have it right here. It's the Cabin in the Woods, a character named Marty. Okay, now we all remember Scream, right? Remember Scream? You too young, millennial? Stoney?
I was old enough. I just didn't have any interest in watching it.
And you were right to do so. Okay, but it was a thing, and it did saturate our culture. And one of the things it did was it, in what we call in the industry, it hung a lantern on or made people aware of
lamp shading.
brought attention to the rules of horror. And over here, WiseKraft, he's a huge horror buff. What are the rules of horror?
Horror is one of the cheapest types of movies to make.
Produce, I know, but in horror there was a formula.
If you have sex before marriage, you will die.
Right. If you smoke drugs.
If you do drugs of any type, you will die.
Right.
If you're black.
Yeah, people of color.
If you're black, you're good.
But that's like old school horror.
Right. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how now
it's like a formula.
Okay. So that's the formula. Okay. An old Friday the 13th, whatever else. They were these subliminal cautionary tales about, okay, so they show two people getting it on, and then the guy, I remember this, it was Kevin Bacon, and he was doing his wild thing with the girl, and then he lays down. I was a young kid, got a video cassette, at our neighbor's house, we're watching it. And right after being very stimulated by watching that scene, then I get to see him get his forehead grabbed and an arrow poke up through his throat.
There's
and then
there's like the teenagers. I forget who the girl was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
With they had sex or they made out. They did something, and then Johnny Depp dies and turns into a fountain of blood.
Right. Exactly. Really creepy. So it's this
fuck.
This Nancy Reagan, don't have sex, don't do drugs, subliminal messaging. So they flipped the script in this movie, Cabin in the Woods. The character named Marty.
It's all a parody of all these old school like.
Can we check? Is that on Netflix? It is, right?
Yes.
If you want to see a positive, we kind of. Well, we didn't spoil it, but he's a great character throughout, and he doesn't die first like everyone else.
I can find a trailer if you want to show a trailer.
Nah, they can find it on their own.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to yammer about, even if Sue doesn't get through to me. Oh, right. I meant to announce that. I'll announce that later when we get off the media stuff. But in the print media, just a sidebar, Time Magazine and National Geographic on stands now, both talking about marijuana research. I picked mine up over at the little bookstore over on Broadway and 16th. They still had a bunch. They were all out of the Star Wars Vanity Fair. I'm going to order that online. But so let's steer it back to where we were. What were we just talking about?
Movies and TV shows.
Right.
Horror movies.
Cabin in the Woods. Well, I don't want to spoil it for folks, but I can just say that this guy, he's a great character. Wasn't he smoking out of something hilarious in the very first scene?
It's the coffee bomb.
Oh, and that actually exists.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. It looks.
Yeah, you fold it up.
It's a real thing.
It looks like a commuter mug, right, for coffee.
Yeah.
And then it goes like tink 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 tink, and it's this big long super ball.
They call it a mug pipe or something like that.
Now, none of these characters are ever going to be without their And, we do like to joke. I mean, the name of the show is What Were We Just Talking About, which by its very nature jokes about how marijuana affects our immediate memory. What are you looking for? Torch. Sorry. Okay,
Speaking
you work on that, and
memory.
I'll try to not lose our audience. So, Netflix has a plethora of programming. You can see Cabin in the Woods. They've got some original programming that had some interesting side plots. Did you watch Marco Polo, Stoney?
I haven't yet, no.
Did you watch it? WiseKraft? Okay. Well, Marco Polo was this
you're watching.
historical...
Well, they smoked weed in China.
What?
Back in the day, they would ingest cannabis as medicine. It talks
Right,
about
they've
it
got
in
all
this.
kind of incense and stuff, but they have the hashish assassins. Okay?
Well, hashish is from a place. Like, it was called hashish.
Right, the word assassin comes from hashish. But they show these assassins doing the hashish. I thought that was pretty cool. So, moving back to TV, I see a trend moving towards the pot granny. Have you seen this at all?
I've seen Medea.
Okay, I haven't seen Medea. Is she a pot granny?
I can't remember, but pretty much.
Smoking blunts?
I've only seen it on
She
like
just the
documentary.
way she acts like that. She doesn't
Short
give a pardon the language. She doesn't give a fuck.
Okay.
So anybody who doesn't give that many fucks like that. It either is an alcoholic or a pothead. So
I don't know if she would be a weed.
It's Tyler Perry.
Maybe
so
a pot
I would
granny.
assume.
So, the new show on Netflix actually has Lily Tomlin playing a 70-year-old woman who uses cannabis, does yoga. Her gay husband is marrying her friend, their friend's husband, and so she lives with
the friend.
Jane Fonda, who I think, I'm not that old, but I think Jane Fonda really had a bad rep for being a pothead back in the day also. But they show her smoking joints with the daughter, having a good time, no real negative consequences. There's a real funny line where their car gets towed, and she's like, "Oh my God, I had so much weed in that car." Which, if you've ever been a stoner and got your car towed, that's the first thing that goes through your head is, what was in the car? What did I forget in that dang car? So it hits close to home, I think. The new girl, Jess, Zoe Deschanel, there was this episode last season before the one that's airing or just ended or whatever, where they went to Thanksgiving dinner and they walk in and the dude's grandma offers to sell them weed. I thought that was funny and random. And I think the characters of the new girl are stoners, but they don't show them stoning it up. But look at their lifestyles, the jobs, they all live together, pay rent rather than, being married and whatnot. So it just seems like one or two of them should be stoners. Probably not the one guy that talks really fast.
It's just more subtle.
What?
It's just more subtle.
Yeah. And you know who I think are stoner parents, but it's a secret? Like they don't say it, but it's there. Is those parents in the middle. You know the middle?
Yeah.
Don't you think Frankie's a total stoner?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
She's getting her medical on. Yeah. Okay.
To tolerate those children, yes.
So it's getting to the... Oh, wow. We burned up an hour. We're only got like 20 minutes left. I don't think we're going to have our guests. They never texted and they didn't answer when we called.
Got cold feet.
Yeah? What?
Huh? I said got cold feet.
No, you know what it is? I bet you the meeting went over. Everybody was probably so excited to see Mollie. And she's like hugging people and all that great stuff. So we'll just get her on some other time. I just want to make sure everybody knows that our hero, Mollie Fry, has been let out of prison. And was in Fresno for a while. Now she's coming to Sacramento. She still has great limitations on where she can go, what she can do, but she's out of prison. Mollie Fry is a doctor who worked and brought cannabis recommendations to people in Auburn. I remember going to one of her seminars and talking to her, and she was the first time I learned that I was indeed using marijuana as medicine when I had quit all my pharmaceuticals and switched to cannabis for anxiety and bipolar disorder. So that was a pivotal nexus moment for me, and she'll always be a hero to me. I won't try to tell her story in detail, but y'all know who Mollie is, and hopefully we'll get her on soon, and hopefully we'll get her out to some of our meetings, and she's going to be being an activist. And these moments with Mollie Fry are all about what she just paid for, because she refused a plea bargain. And the reason she refused a plea bargain, because woven into the plea bargain was a clause that she could not work in or participate in or volunteer for or work with the marijuana community. So, that just proves to go to prison for 4 years just to
make a point,
just so that when you're done, you can go back to your life and be with the community that you care about. I just applaud Mollie for that. So we're going to go ahead and move on back to our main topic. We're working our way to who I think the best stoners on TV are. Do you guys know who I'm going to say?
Gandalf.
No, that was the movies.
Oh. No.
Okay, 2 words. Broad
Oh,
City.
Yes.
Pull up the graphic. The
Okay.
best stoners ever. These 2 girls live in New York. I've seen the actresses on The Daily Show, and they seem really funny. They're really friends. Apparently, they did a YouTube thing. I should really IMDb them, huh? So I could say their names. Since I don't know the girls' names, I just love the show. So basically, they're self-proclaimed Jew girls running around New York. They're sexually free. I wouldn't call them, promiscuous.
The term
Maybe like
sex
Christians
positive.
would, but I think they have just healthy, honest sexual appetites. They're just having fun, and they're always smoking weed. There was an episode actually titled Pussy Weed. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, that was a good episode.
And referring to her hiding the cannabis in her, as they say it, vagina, and whether they should smoke it or not. Yeah, so let's see. According to the Googles, the critically acclaimed web series Broad City moved to Comedy Central. It's a half-hour scripted series. And you can't pull it up on the Netflix, all you Netflix people, but you can get it on Amazon Prime. And I don't work for Amazon, but I will say that is a decent product. I have found so many shows on Amazon Prime I don't find on Netflix, Broad City and a bunch of other Comedy Central ones included. And there's a new one coming on. Switch the graphic over to the Down Dog. There's a show, and I'm encouraging everybody.
What's it called?
Down Dog. I'm encouraging everybody to go, if they have Amazon Prime, and watch this. Am I boring you, Stoney? Or is it just the dabs? Sorry, he was yawning in my face. I know you can't see that out there in Blogland, but Amazon Prime has a show. It's a new, and it's just a premiere, so it's 1 episode. If you watch it, though, it's like a vote, okay? And the more people that watch it, the more chance it'll be an actual series. And it is about a kind of a good-looking kind of a dude who whose dad is Chris Christopherson, who's a grower, and he's kind of one of those stereotypical growers that's like trying to make money, and it failed, and there's been a bunch of schemes and it's all failed. So he's doing the guy's doing yoga, and he doesn't want to sell weed for his dad, and that's kind of the story arc is, will he go back to that or not? I thought that's a pretty good show. And there's a lot of HBO shows. The Wire, I don't watch it, but I plan to because I have Amazon Prime. I'm sure that show's weed. Maybe we'll have some people on it, because there's a lot of shows we can't cover because none of us watched them. So anyway, so Amazon Prime, if you're one of those people that like to sit around and smoke and just binge watch shows, it's a good thing. It's $100 a year. But now back on Netflix, let's talk about a Netflix original series that you guys, neither one of you watch, but I'm going to tell you an interesting factoid about it. House of Cards. Okay, you watched WiseKraft. You watched part of the first season. Stoney, have you ever watched it?
What?
House of Cards.
You want me to pull up a
The
graphic?
beginning of it, have not really.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like West Wing on steroids.
Graphic?
Yeah. Oh, I don't have a House of Cards.
I'll find one.
It's all right. Well, throughout the show, there's these weird moments between Frank Underwood and his wife, where they're sharing what looks to be a cigarette or a joint. Okay. Right. And then and so it's not clear, but one moment, and if you blink, you miss it. She says, or was it he said? She said, "I wish this was the real stuff." And he walks away from the balcony, goes to this hidden spot, and he pulls out a joint, and they smoke it. So I guess the thing is, they used to smoke weed, and now they share a cigarette because they can't smoke weed. But every once in a while, when the going gets tough, they actually smoke weed. And he's like, is he president yet? Yeah, he's like president of the United States. So it's like a little shout out to the Choom gang.
Right there where it says House of Cards, it has right next to it. It has the upside down American flag. That's an anarchist symbol, and that's it's supposed to be ship in distress. But since if they do it with the country, it's supposed to be like you're against what that country's doing.
Well, look at his hands; they're also bloody, and they're on like pillars, and that's Masonic.
Yeah.
Well, he's sitting where he's sitting in that.
Oh, that reminds me.
That they set up
forgot
for
the Paranoia
Lincoln.
place.
Oh, I was just throwing my little 2 cents in.
Well, we're gonna probably have Paranoia place at the end if you want.
Well, whatever.
Okay. So, but we're kind of gonna wrap up the discussion of media. But there's one subject on TV where people do get it right a lot of times. Animation, adult animation. Simpsons, Family Guy, what?
The Boondocks.
The Boondocks. Did you watch that one yet? That I told you about? Oh my God! Don't even get me started on Boondocks. The granddad ends up smoking weed, and he's really a grumpy character, and he turns nice, and they take his weed away at the end, and he's so miserable. And it's so true. That's what happened to Homer Simpson way back. Gosh, I don't even know how far back. Simpsons did an episode.
Did it.
Simpsons did it. Yeah, they had Homer got his eyes pecked by a crow.
Oh Lord!
And the best line ever, Dr. Hibbert says, "Maybe you should try marijuana." And Homer says, "Marijuana or dope? Isn't that illegal?" And Dr. Hibbert says, "Only for those who enjoy it." I love it. And the whole, but as in classic Simpsons manner, they try to show a balanced view. And there's a really kind of mean stoner joke at the end, and that is they try to do a referendum to remove medical marijuana, and Homer holds a rally. Remember that?
Look, there's Saturn.
Yeah. Okay. And Homer holds a rally, and then at the end of the rally, to keep marijuana legal for medical purposes, they discovered the vote had happened the day before. Yeah, it was hilarious. And my favorite part was Lisa at the end, because Homer was grooving with her while she was playing the saxophone and all that. And so she's just really kind of torn at the end, because she liked her dad as a stoner, but everything she knows says it's bad for you. Yeah. Speaking of, the Matt Groening genre, Futurama did a funny little thing. Did you get to that episode ever?
I've seen all of them, but I don't remember.
You don't remember Good News, Everyone?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, there's a funny thing. The professor says, "Good news, everyone." And they ran the joke into the ground every which way. And one day he shouts out, "Good news, everyone." And they're like, "What is it?" He goes, "Oh, no, that's the name of my cream." And he's out of it. And he's like, his body's all bunching up. And on the,
they go to the planet fucking Omicron Persea 8.
Yes, and they get this pot, and
it's pot. They do not hide it. It's a leaf.
Well, and Hermes, the Rastafarian, is like, "Oh, man, yeah, yeah, that was a good portrayal. I thought that was an excellent portrayal. Who's going to take over the conversation if I'm going to do that? You?
No.
Because we can't have dead air while I dab. That's just what it'd be
part
cool.
of that.
But my whole what? Just be fast about it.
Just like hold up.
But yeah, the animation, adult animation, is rife with examples where they get it right. Sometimes they just have fun with it. South Park, Stoney. Oops, tell us about South Park. Do you remember that one? Medicinal fried chicken.
Oh my God, yes. They give themselves testicular cancer so they can go get medical marijuana, but his balls get too big so he can't fit through the door. And then they bounce around on him like a fucking, they say it, a hippity hop. And in the end, he gets them removed and replaced and gives the scrotum as a jacket to his wife.
I forgot that part. Yeah, that maybe we should have left out.
Oh. Well, it's right on the screen.
All right, get that off the screen. Yeah, South Park. Oh, and then there's Tally. Let's not forget Tally.
Well, Tally does meth. Let's forget Tally.
Yeah, well,
Tally's
you're right.
Not a good example at all.
No, he's not but he used to be. He was a marketing stoner tool. I have this theory about Tally. I think that Trey and Matt were sitting at the table with some executives, and they're like, "We're so awesome. We could do anything. We could take this stupid towel and give it some stoner catchphrase, and everybody will love
what
it."
happened. There's this documentary where they talk about the making of South Park. And they go through making an episode, and what happened. This is the South Park writing process now, because they're just seeing how far they can go before they get kicked off the air. And according to Matt Stone, he said, what was it he said? He's like, every time we make an episode, I tell myself, we've gone way too far with this one. And then everybody goes, oh, that's just South Park. And he's like, I could literally say anything, and people will find some joke in it. He's kind of the creators are kind of weirded out by it too. I think that just might be me.
You guys want to get high?
Yeah, unfortunately, Tally did.
And Bill Hader's on the writing team now too.
Who?
Bill Hader, the SNL guy. He's the stoner cop in Superbad.
Right. He's with
now? Seth Rogen. He's one of he writes. Well, not all of them, but on some of the episodes for South Park, he writes.
I did not know that. Yeah, I like Bill Hader. Well, we're going to wind this media discussion down. We know there's so many other shows. We'll do a whole other show on media stuff. Maybe after I watch Breaking Bad. I heard that has weed in it.
But again,
does the weed the hero at all?
I don't remember, but that show, you should not take any like lesson from that other than meth is bad.
Meth is bad.
Meth is really bad.
Yeah.
Like, no, that show it's a really good show. Like, I'm not knocking it. The actors did good, but there's no message you should take from it other than don't do meth. Yeah. Don't get involved with meth. Don't touch meth. Just, you see it, stay the fuck away from it.
Well, you know what was on the same channel, and it almost kind of says, like, it perpetuates the cultivation stereotypes. Bates Motel. Okay, when I watched it, and I was thinking, oh, maybe Norman Bates will get high and not go crazy, and it'll help him, or maybe he won't go psycho. But no, his brother grows weed in the mountains, and there's all this drama. Somebody gets immolated, somebody gets beheaded, and they just seem to be kind of throwing out those subliminal messages that cultivation of cannabis is a dangerous thing, and therefore by taking part of it, you may be.
Well, the way they were doing it was pretty dumb and dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was gang affiliated. See, they only showed the gang affiliated.
Right. Well, the whole town is like a Mendocino style town where everybody grows, but then it turns out that the government is in on the take and whatnot with it. So that's it's a good show, but again, you kind of have to.
Wasn't the guy a former DEA agent?
Who?
The guy that ends up telling them to go get the guns, for him, like, and they are supposed to.
Right. Oh, Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
He's in that, and he's a former DEA agent.
I think so. That's what he said. He was a military. He was involved in.
I watched it. I don't remember that.
Well, just look a little closer.
But I'm not an expert. I usually have to watch things twice before I could really quote them. Have we forgotten any really major? I mean, we kind of threw in.
Well, how about, is there any culture leading into children's type?
Hell yes.
Is it going into the children's viewing
Adventure Time?
Anything
with Adventure Time.
And is it the good version or is it the bad version? Is it the cannabis or is it the
Is it cannabis is bad? Drugs are bad.
Yeah.
No. This whole show is near psychedelic. Just
right. I watched Adventure Time.
But the stuff they talk about, sometimes they drink. They've done drugs. There's one whole episode that was written like an acid trip. It pretty much is like chemicals are good.
That reminds me.
Free your mind. They talk a lot about
regular show. That. Also on Cartoon Network.
Regular shows
written for millennials, right?
It was written for millennials, but it was also originally these two gas
people at gas station
attendant
said with
mushrooms.
a mushroom trip, right?
Yes, and they.
Well, the whole show they seem like stoners, and they're
they
like,
are,
but they don't show them smoking pot, of course.
They're playing video games and eating pizza, working the shittiest job ever at a golf course. They are high. They have to be. I would have to be.
Oh wait, now let's talk a little bit more. I just realized I scrolled down on my notes. I have a bunch more stuff, so we could go another 2 minutes on this at least. Let's talk The Office. Do you guys remember any pot use in The Office?
Watch The Office.
Did you watch The Office all the way through?
I didn't. No, I didn't really watch The Office.
Oh my
I
Gaia!
Like The Office.
You get on that Netflix. You will watch. You will love it. I guarantee it. 3 episodes in.
I like Dwight.
Everybody loved Dwight's great. So okay, let's talk The Office. So The Office, they had a funny episode where Dwight didn't know what weed looked like, and he put like a salad in somebody's thing and called the cops. Somebody sold him the salad as weed. That was funny.
Okay, I might give
but
it
there
a chance.
wasn't a whole lot of weed in it. But in the very end, they tried to do what's called a backdoor spin-off, and it was the Schrute Farm. Okay. So they did a whole episode on the Schrute Farm and showed some of Dwight's family, and one of his family members is a pot grower.
Oh.
Okay, so if that show had gotten picked up, they would have had a pot growing plot, but it didn't. Now that show's sequel, Parks and Rec, they had a park had weed in it. Andy Dwyer was growing it. He's obviously a stoner. Well, I consider Parks and Rec the sequel to The Office. It's the offshoot of it.
Yeah. I guess.
So even though one actress
style.
that was one character in The Office is in it as another character, still they're related. Their producers are all related. Which brings me to the next sequel. There's another show coming.
Oh Lord.
It's okay. So the producers of Park and Rec have they had a stoner ranger character. They've done little bits of little pot jokes. But apparently the guy that plays the guy that marries Leslie Knope is one of the producers. And he wants to his name's Adam Scott. And he's producing a show that, if picked up, would depict a Colorado dispensary. And it's called Buds. And I can tell you, having ran a dispensary for a couple of years, there is a lot of room for comedy. Good comedy and bad comedy. So I'm going to be looking closely at that. And you know what we were going to cover? And I think we can put it in the description, but we didn't cover any of the news, like Sanjay Gupta Weeds, and they got all these reality shows, Weed Wars, Weed Country. I don't know how to feel about those. I think some of them are really negative. I think this show High Profits, maybe they're not intentional, but it seems like the editor is specifically picking material and forming it in a way that just makes these people look like get rich quick, pardon my French, douchebags. And I don't know the people, so I can't, make that judgment. I watched 3 episodes. I couldn't watch it anymore. And anything with weed in it, I'm totally down about watching. But I just kind of stopped watching that. And I can admit I haven't been really good about watching some of these other shows, the ones that show the cops. There's one called Weed. Is it Weed? There's some drug DEA kind of shows. I did watch a little bit El Dorado, a show about El Dorado cops. It really pissed me off because they're harassing growers and they're being real jerks and going into their house and making fun of their property. Does that mean we're running out of time?
It's 5:20.
Okay, well, we don't have to end at exactly 5:20, but we should wrap it up. But yeah, so we're going to talk more about news coverage because I remember back, and then in a future episode, I just 6 years ago running a dispensary, you'd hear on Fox News and they're talking about pot shops and very negative, very leading programming that's trying to lead you into a certain thought pattern. And it's shifting, and pot's sexy now. And this is where you people listening here have this huge amount of voting power. Okay, if a news program covers marijuana and a bajillion people watch it, okay, they're going to cover it again. And if they cover it in a bad way, and some people comment, and and then there are ways by showing what we view, what we like and what we don't like, and what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. But overall, it's important to have a positive cannabis conversation one-on-one with people, because no matter how positive the show, they always got to show marijuana people as silly. And we can be serious, we can network and pass business cards. So that's why I'm always, when I'm talking to people, letting them see, and so shall we close out with the Paranoia place? Give you like 3 minutes. We wanted to add a new feature. WiseKraft, also known as Fear Porn Propaganda, that's his other Google name, has a podcast.
I have a podcast under that channel.
What's it? Okay, and what's it about?
It's basically where the people that some of them call themselves truthers, others don't call themselves truthers, but essentially they are. They're essentially truth
about what?
Searching for the truth, because they feel that there's lies around them, that the things that happen around them that are called events are not actually happening like they're reported to. And they do research actually figuring that out. I don't hear myself.
Okay.
So anyway, they do this, and I put them on so I can kind of like question them about their research and go through each of it and see.
Okay, so what we wanted to do with the Paranoia place was we wanted to let the stoner audiences out there know what they should be worried about right now. All of it. There's something coming up next week, isn't there? Some kind of what was it? 27th of May. I can't hear myself.
No, I hear myself either.
There we go. The 27th of May.
27th of May. No, in July there's supposed to be a near miss of like some sort of asteroid coming like by and going by, and that's what supposedly Jade Helm 15 is all about. Is like they're setting up for that, like, and then the people think that it's really just a indoctrination of getting them used to the military being around them, and then other people think it's actually for martial law, like getting ready.
This is the invasion where some of the more fringe people say that Obama's going to invade Texas. That story.
Yeah, well, I don't talk to those people, but
yeah.
But
that's the smoke screen, the Texas thing.
Yeah, that's from a story. I talk to actual people that do research, and then they present their research. They don't give me their opinion necessarily. I mean, some of them do, but they state that if they're stating their opinion, they say that this is my opinion about that.
Wasn't there an earthquake or something?
San Andreas?
May 27th.
Why is
there's that movie coming out?
Yeah, there's not the movie. No, I seen a thing on Facebook, and I thought you covered it once, and it showed all these points. And
all earthquakes in California are started by the San Andreas Fault.
There was supposed to be a big earthquake coming up, and they're predicting it for like May 27th. You haven't heard this, Mr. Paranoia?
No.
I seen it on Facebook.
I only know about the what do you call it? Asteroid. That's going to be like a near miss in July 7th. And get this, the Jade Helm program is supposed to, like their training operation is supposed to go down in July 15th. So that's only a couple days away, like a couple weeks, 7 days.
Right. Okay, so world's going to end.
No, I don't think that. I think that's a speculation. It could be what you call a psyop, where they put out the narrative that the world's going to end, and then you believe it, so then you prepare for it. So then they set up a situation that makes you think that the world's going to end, like say an EMP or something.
Y2K.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like how they set up for that, and of course, planes are actually falling out of the sky now, supposedly. That's why they want to, put robots as pilots now because of that. So these events that occur create some sort of law into existence that scares the people into passing that law.
That's been going on for thousands of
that's
years.
Called
that's manipulation.
Problem reaction solution. Pretty much, they already have the solution. They create the problem. You react to the problem, and you ask for the solution that they already have planned, and then they carry that out, a la
Patriot Act,
because of Ebola. just to throw out some things. So every episode that I do on my podcast, Fear Porn Propaganda, is basically about some certain thing. It's not necessarily just an open discussion. It can lead to an open discussion. Sometimes we go off on tangents, but we always come back to whatever subject we're trying to cover that day.
Kind of like we do here on What Were We Just Talking About?
Kind of, except more of a, like research.
And you have a bunch of people come on yours and go on and on about stuff.
Yeah, I do.
So we had 3 viewers today. What was our peak?
4, I think.
Was it 4?
4 at some point.
Wow, that's 4 times the amount of viewers last time.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. That's positive.
No, I should put a.
So I want to. Did I do that? Oh, you did that. Because I just pushed the button on my phone to get the Hekate's riddle queued up. That's hilarious. So this is what we were just talking about. We're going to close up the show. I want to thank our really special guest, Stoney, the Tokin Mellinial, who only agreed to come on because we said we would dab him if he brought his medical recommendation with him. And then we have our producer, WiseKraft. Thanks again for doing it like you did last time. I think this one was even better. No, let's not do the clapping.
No problem.
That's not. Just with love, I say no clapping. Just disruptive. People are like, when is this going to end? We're almost done. I want to thank Mollie Fry and Sue Cologne for agreeing to come on, and I already forgive you for not. But you got to come on next time now because I don't want people thinking I made that stuff up. And I want to thank Hekate's Riddle, which my good friend Isina and Ariel and Jason are in the band. And we're going to close out with their song. It's called A Little Bit Complicated. And we're going to not even promise what the show is going to be about next week or even when it's going to be because we didn't live up to half of those promises. And we moved the date because it was very important Harvey Milk Day events going on. We had to go to. So, but it's going to be sometime next week. I'm thinking Friday at 4:20. Don't quote me on that. Watch the channel, blogs, and the What Were We Just Talking About like page on Facebook. There isn't a Twitter yet. I'm going to work on that, but I'm not real good at Twitter. But yeah, hopefully just keep an eye out for the show. And if you want to come on the show, get a hold of us. You can email me at RevRon420. That's a Gmail account. That's RevRon 420 at Gmail. We may fix it to where random people could come on and talk about stuff like they do on WiseKraft show, but right now we could barely keep up with the people we had here. And so, yeah, and then let me know if you got any kind of activist activity meetings or anything else you'd like mentioned or announced or any news or whatever. So, and then if you have any product you think is amazing, let me try it and I'll talk about it on here. Right now it's meaningless. I've got 4 viewers, but someday.
Can I plug mine?
Yeah, what?
Can I plug mine?
Yeah, plug yours.
Okay, so if you're interested in mine, it's called Fear Porn Propaganda on YouTube. Just go to the channel area and search for it, and you should be able to find it. And then it's on every Thursday from 12:30 to about 3:30. Sometimes I end a little earlier.
Oh, and a couple other plugs earlier when we were medicating, we actually, aside from the blue cookies that we got from CleverTreeDeliveries.com, we had some of that nice Romulan for the therapeutic alternative.
Yes.
And they might be listening. I don't know how to tell. Somebody's calling me. Oh, who? Hold on. We may have to extend the show. Hold on just a second. Hello?
Juan.
Hey.
Sorry.
What's going on?
We just got to her house because we had to hurry up and get here, and I forgot. I'm sorry. I was trying to multitask.
She's coming through.
Cool. Did you guys have a minute or?
Yeah, she does. If she's grabbing something to eat real quick, do you still have time for the interview?
Well, we were just closing the show, but we can keep going if you guys are ready.
Yeah, we can extend it.
Mollie, do you have like 5 minutes? She has 5 minutes.
Yeah, I won't yammer too long because our show's already almost over. But that's awesome that she's called.
Yeah, she's here. She's going to come right now.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Everybody out there, what were we just talking about? This is Sue Colomb. Sue, do you have anything? What are you working on right now that you want to let people know about?
AB 86.
What's the AB 86?
AB 86 is an assembly bill that helps for accountability if an officer is involved in a wrongful shooting.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. It's great.
Yeah, well, we need to make sure we get to talking to the 99% about this because I think they would support it too. We could get maybe some.
Yeah, and we're going to do a big fundraiser. I already got the venue and the place going, and Lynette's going to get involved, and it's going to be really cool. And we're going to have Mollie come out and speak. We're going to have Kevin McCarthy speak, the chief of police come out and speak, and then invite the district attorney that they're against the bill, so it's okay.
Awesome. So
do you want to? Here's Mollie, though.
Okay, excellent.
Oh.
Hey, lady. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right. It's been so long since we saw you.
It's been so long, and I'm so excited to be in my own apartment with my own bed.
Really? And you're back in town then?
I'm in Citrus.
Hold on, my phone was garbling. What was that?
In Citrus Heights.
Oh, good. That's pretty close. So, are you going to be able to go to meetings like ASA kind of stuff?
Here's my situation. The facility that I check into is in Fresno, and they are very uncomfortable with me not having an appropriate allotted time with someone. And so they told me that if I get a letterhead of some organization, institution, or business to say that they want me to volunteer, I can volunteer 20 to 40 hours a week, which means that they don't have to worry about me or be responsible for me, and whoever's on the letterhead just keeps track of the fact that I'm not in trouble.
Oh.
And of course, we know I'm not in trouble. And Sue's already got this all wired. So basically, I'm going to be entirely loose.
Really? Excellent.
Is that not excellent?
Yeah. You sound marvelous.
I am marvelous. Sue's holding me, and she would attest to that. I'm strong. I'm healthy. I'm better than I was when I was in my 30s, and I'm ready to take up arms against injustice and to support those who need God's medicine and free God's planet.
Bless you. That's so amazing to hear. I got a little goosebumps here. I'm a fanboy. I just got to tell you real quick. Years ago, when you up in Grass Valley, you had a seminar. And I remember we got a tie-dye shirt that said cannabis.
I'm not going to say I remember because those were very bad years. And I was unfortunately under the influence of pharmaceutical drugs, which are unhealthy for all human beings at all times. But previous to that, in 2002, I made a video with Normal, and that is a healthy, strong, dynamic, energetic human being. But after the feds took over and made me stop using my natural, harmless medicine to treat my symptoms, I was the victim of pharmaceutical medication by doctors, and I really was not functioning at peak operational ability. And now I've been off all drugs, and God's delivered me from all illness, and coming back to a 13-year-older version of the 2002 woman. So I'm up and running, strong and healthy, and ready to go. And I will remember you when I see you, because I read space, which means I feel your spirit. And my spirit never forgets. But I'm good with names, and I'm really not good with necessarily exact locations or whatever. But when I see you, I may go, I gotcha. Because I feel your spirit.
Well, no, I don't expect you to remember. I just remember you were the first person to listen to me talk about my specific condition, anxiety, and that it wasn't my imagination that I quit 6 pharmaceuticals and just did pot, and it was my medicine. And that was my beginning of my journey of using cannabis as medicine rather than.
What year was that?
Oh, I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. And you guys were doing a whole workshops in the different rooms, and there was someone with cooking and various things, and then you were talking in front of a crowd, and I kind of came up and just asked you real quick. But then you met me again. There's a picture up on the podcast. I don't know if you'll be able to watch it, but we did the graphics, some of the graphics that we had at your rally.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, don't take it personally.
No, not at all.
We're going to establish a spirit contact, and it'll all be good. I wanted to tell you that the reality is that I saw this over and over with my patients. I had over 10,000 patients, and they would come in and they would have guilt and shame over choosing a non-toxic, therapeutic medicine that came in the form of an herbal plant that turned out to be illegal. And I would relieve their anxiety and say to them, you know what, marijuana is safer than most foods you commonly consume, and that's by the DEA legislative judge who wanted to have it legalized in '86, I believe it was. And basically, marijuana is a safe and effective drug, and it was utilized 100 years ago by the pharmaceutical companies in many of their treatments. Back in the center stage, and we need to get rid of all the things that are made in test tubes, and we need to get Americans off hard drugs and off dangerous drugs and give them herbal alternatives, and marijuana is number one.
And off alcohol and cigarettes too.
Well, you know, I can't legislate morality, and I'm not in the business of even legislating morality. I hope that people, when given healthy alternatives, will make those choices for themselves.
Yeah. That's kind of what I meant. So they have that choice. We need to get full legal.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have the choice, so they can't make their own decisions. But if we have the choice, then they can make the alternative choices for that's best for them.
So is there anything else you want to share with the audience? We have like 4 people on tonight.
I want to say hello. I've just spent 4 years in federal prison becoming a better person, the best person I can possibly be. And I'm here to, set God's planet free. Because God is author of medicine, and He is the author of your body. And the medicine works to alleviate your pain and your anxiety and your sleeplessness, and it makes you a higher functioning being, a gentler, kinder, nicer person. And everyone should be using this drug.
Awesome. Actually, that reminded me too. You were the first to have a radio commercial, because I remember they would talk about that short time we had Air America. You had an ad that would be on there. So, well,
I'm sure that I pissed off a lot of people, especially with my radio commercials that were on the most popular station in Sacramento, where they sang a little jingle that. If you're medical marijuana, it's your choice. And we said, are you sick of pharmaceuticals that don't work and have bad side effects? Are you sick of doctors who don't listen to you and don't know what's wrong with you? Are you sick of not having a choice? So, yeah, I kind of kicked the hornet's nest.
I was a I sold rain gutters then, and so I was driving around in my truck. And I remember the first time I heard that commercial, I was like, all right, it's time. The future is here.
It's that crazy woman.
So you were before your time, because the future's still not quite here, but we're getting it. I guess, what is it? Clear Channel and the like are finally going to start easing up their restrictions on cannabis advertising. So we're going to see more of that going mainstream too.
Absolutely, and there's always got to be someone who kicks the door open, and unfortunately, for victims of very, very technical. But the door is open, and we need to keep pushing it until it comes wide open.
Sorry, I was just reading someone's comment. Oh, we missed a bunch of comments, didn't we?
Yeah, well, not a bunch, but a couple.
Sorry. This is our second show, so we're still kind of new. But you can always come on anytime you want. We're going to close out the show. I want to thank Mollie Fry for coming on, and I want to thank
thank you, and you too. Goodbye.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Sue, thank you so much for everything. I hope you guys had a good time at the meeting.
Thanks.
We need, if you guys want to talk to me and Keith about
be involved in our fundraiser too for the AB 86, and it would be super great, and anybody who wants to get involved.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ron, so much.
You're most welcome, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay, blessings.
All right. So,
Bye-bye.
again, thanks to everybody. Sue Cologne for arranging that. I'm sorry for the speaker. I know it was a Bluetooth speaker and it cut out. I hope you were. I understood everything she was saying over my headphones. So, God bless Mollie Fry for coming on and for all she's done and all she will do. And thanks everybody for coming on. We're going to close out again. This is Sakate's Riddle. It's just a little bit complicated.